And answer either A, for yes, I have a soulmate, or B, probably I have a soulmate. C, no, you don't have a soulmate. D, you're still looking for a soulmate. Or E, other. Okay, so you have 15 seconds to choose either A, B, C, D, or E, and we'll see how many of you have found your soulmates and how many of you have not, and how many of you are still looking, and we'll see, of course, the other as well. So right now you have a chance to vote. 15 seconds. A, B, C, D, or E. So far we have almost 100 of you who have responded. Okay, 107 of you have responded. And this is what you said. 56 of you have found a soulmate. 12 of you are pretty sure, probably you found a soulmate. 10 of you have not found a soulmate. 24 of you are still looking. And 5 of you are from another planet. Okay? Well, thank you for that information. This is neat. About half of us, or a little more than half of us, have actually found a soulmate. Isn't that nice? Now, you didn't see me looking, but I was watching to see what Barbara pushed. All right. A. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, this is not theologically correct, but here's what somebody said. It's talking about getting to heaven. And it says, well, about 1/3, you're about 1/3 there when you get saved. And you're about 1/3 more there when you get baptized. And then you're about 1/3 more there when you are adopted into the family. Like I said, it's not theologically correct, but it illustrates the point. You know, it talks about going to heaven. You're 1/3 of the way there when you get saved. You're 1/3 of the way there when you get baptized. And you're the last third when you're really adopted into the church family. And while it's not theologically correct, because we believe that once you believe you're saved instantly, it does illustrate a point. And the point that it's talking about here is community. How important it is to have a community. And so we have a community at Orange Coast Church that shares and cares. Notice a survey that was done by Church Growth Magazine. They followed 100 converts for 6 months. And this is what they found. That if the convert had 2 or fewer friends in the congregation, 35% dropped out. If the convert had 3 to 6 friends in the congregation, 15% dropped out. And if the convert had 7 or more friends in the congregation, none dropped out. So you see how important it is to have friends. So we'd like for you to tell us, how many friends do you have in the congregation? How many friends do you have at OCC? A, 0 to 2. B, 3 to 6. C, 7 or more. And there is no D or E. All right, so A, B, or C. You have 0 to 2 friends, 3 to 6 friends, or 7 or more friends. And you have 15 seconds to answer the question. So you can begin now. 5 seconds. And 106 of you responded, and this is what you said. 15 of you said you have 0 to 2 friends, and 18 of you said 3 to 6 friends. 65% of you said you have 7 or more friends. So that means most of you will still be here next year. So we're glad for that. Now, in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend, right? So it's sort of like being a protege. In order to be a mentor, you must first have been a protege. So what we want to do is increase as many opportunities as we can for you to actually have friends in the congregation. We think that that's really, really important, and we'd like to encourage you to befriend others and become friends so that you can have a network, a support group. You have these relationships that can help you get through life, because life is pretty tough. We know that for a fact. Some of you football fans will recognize this guy. This is Vince Lombardi of the Green Bay Packers. He was a coach, and he was a tough coach. He won 3 world championships. And Vince Lombardi is known for his great pep speeches to really get the players, going. And he could be pretty hard because he didn't beat around the bush. So he could be straight, and he could be strict, and he could be hard on you if you didn't do your job right. And one day, and this is, it's been reported to me as a true story, one day he was at a practice with the Green Bay Packers, and one guy wasn't putting out effort. So he watched the guy for over an hour, and then he walked up to the guy and he said to the guy, you're a lousy football player. You don't block well, you don't tackle well, and you really don't put out 100%. You're done for today. Go back to the locker room. And so while everybody else was practicing, this guy goes back to the locker room. About 45 minutes later, Vince Lombardi walks into the locker room, and he sees this guy that he had chastised verbally. He's still in his football uniform, and he's sitting on the bench with his head down, and he's sobbing like a baby. And Vince Lombardi walked over to him, and he put his arm around him. And Vince Lombardi said, "Son, you are a lousy football player. You don't block well, you don't tackle well, and you don't put out 100%. He said, "But I sense that inside of you is a great football player." And he said, "I'll stand by you till that football player comes out." And that's exactly what he did. The young man's name was Jerry Kramer, who was voted as all-time guard in the first 50 years of professional football. Because Vince Lombardi was the mentor, and Jerry Kramer was the protege. And when the protege realized that his mentor saw in him something special, there was almost like a soulmate relationship between them. He got the confidence that he needed, and he became a great football player, perhaps the greatest guard in all the history of football. It's interesting, when Jesus was on earth, that he did not clone himself. I think if I were Jesus, that's what I would want to do. I'd just clone myself. But he didn't do that. He saw that he needed to move on. He knew that he would no longer be there for the world.